Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CapitalNet TV specials. I'm your host, Rakesh Bhatia today, and we have a very special guest all the way from UAE with us today to talk about the, the startup and private investment ecosystem growth and evolution in the UAE, not just UAE, in fact, the whole MENA region. We have Sleem Hasan, founder and CEO of Privity, a gentleman who has seen different parts of the world, lived in different parts of the world. He grew up in Nigeria, went to study in UK, London, worked with Japan, and has been in UAE for about 17 years now. A graduate in mathematics from Cambridge and Oxford, and currently very deeply embedded in the startup and private investments ecosystem in the UAE and the MENA region. Welcome, Salim. Good to have you on the conversation today. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. We are very excited to know and learn from your experience, having spent so much time in the MENA region. I believe it's probably 17 years to be precise, as I understand. Very keen, very curious to see how you have seen this world changing. And then I know that as Privity as well, you have been working very closely with the players in the investment and the startup world. Very curious to understand from your perspective how this region as a whole has changed from what we used to imagine or perceive from the media and the movies as a very different world to that noise of a knowledge based economy today. A quick perspective on that.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Rakesh, for having me on your show. I'm honored to be here. So I moved to Dubai in 2004. So yes, you're absolutely right. It's 17 years to the date. When I came here, it was absolutely very much in build mode while I set my eyes on starting this technology practice called Privity. I was really probably several years too early in hindsight now when I look back. Real estate and construction were the orders of the day, and there were cranes everywhere. And I did a little recce around the region to Saudi, to Oman, to Qatar, to Kuwait. And my assessment back then was that this whole region, by far and large, is in build mode. I mean, some countries were a bit more advanced, others less so. But by far and large, they were all building their infrastructure, the roads, the buildings, the metros, the airports, and so on and so forth. Now, that being said, I observed probably later in my journey around circa 2016, I saw that shift move more towards the knowledge economy. And why do I say that? Well, the Dubai Futures Accelerator was established here. You had Shira in Sharjah, and much later on, you had Hub 71 up in Abu Dhabi. And then you had other ecosystems in Bahrain, in Saudi, etc., forming place. So these were the building blocks, to build the knowledge economy. So a lot of this type of it was an evolution, how you moved from what I call labor camps to knowledge camps.
This shift has been pretty interesting. Now, you brought in the mention of those few enablers who initially started, whether it's Dubai Accelerator, Hub 71, and so on. But if you look at the MENA region as a whole, where do you see most action happening?
Well, initially, I would say over here in the UAE, but more recently, I think Saudi Arabia, by sheer virtue of its size, I mean, it's the largest in terms of GDP in the region.
Mhm.
In terms of population amongst certainly the GCC players, and it has obviously been a definite shift in from the top in terms of their vision and how to change. And I think it's been a culmination of several events that have unfolded, uh, and has taken place probably at very senior levels in terms of they all recognize the fact that hydrocarbons won't last, or they won't last forever, and that before you get to the last drop of oil coming out of the ground, it probably makes sense for future generations to ensure their comfort, standards of living, etc., etc., to diversify your economy. And I think when you look back today, in terms of diversification, I think UAE is certainly probably the more diversified of the countries within the GCC, and others will probably be following suit going forward. But that is something I've observed, and certainly it's something that I believe will continue into the future. So it wouldn't surprise maybe at some point, maybe Saudi plays catch up and maybe overtakes UAE. It all depends.
Do you see the way this region is growing as anything similar to the way Silicon Valley came up in the early days, or is it something different that is driving this region?
So
Yeah.
whilst Silicon Valley is an empire unto itself, and as long as there's been no changes and it doesn't outprice itself, and innovation, people keep still investing in R&D. But only when you invest in R&D that our innovation will keep flourishing and stuff. But the seeds are being planted right now, and I'm fairly optimistic. Short from an act of God, there's no reason why those dreams cannot be resurrected or achieved yet again. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm seeing the green shoots, and it's an amazing time to be living in this region, and certainly where I sit today in Dubai.
I think it makes absolute sense. Now, if you look at this ecosystem, while it has made itself fairly visible to the rest of the world, right? It's in talks for all the good reasons in the investment and startup ecosystem. I'm very curious. The investment that's getting into these new age businesses, startups, entrepreneurs, technologies, where is it coming from? Is it local within the region, funded by governments, private equities, or is it coming from from the West or
Well,
even Far East?
let me share some data here that perhaps answers that, head on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to quote from an article that was published earlier this year, 22nd February 2021, about MENA startups attracting $1 billion during 2020 despite coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a big headline number. And of course, this came from the venture capitalists. They poured $1 billion into this region last year, signaling a much higher investor confidence despite the global coronavirus pandemic. And this was published in a report by Magnet. Magnet is a local group here that publishes data on the entrepreneurial ecosystem here. They're very well known. The pandemic, of course, wreaked havoc globally, as we all know. But some startup markets, got hit hard more than others.
Sure.
The Middle East, relatively, while it was not left untouched by the pandemic, they've weathered the storm now, in the benefit of hindsight, relatively well. That much we have observed. And then to answer your question in terms of, where's that money coming from? Well, again, let me just quickly refer to this particular article. So in the Middle East and North Africa, the MENA region, out of the 256 investors, this included, of course, some international VCs. They basically came into the region. They put about, I think of that number, about 11% of these companies were headquartered in the US, and a quarter of those investors were based outside the region. The rest came from the region. So again, there's a growing interest, in funding their own, and of course, and also remember, it's diversification. If you go back to basic asset allocation, whilst they may have been investing in real estate or hard assets, uh, all the local investors, including the family offices and the big conglomerates here, they were all up to their gills in real estate investing. Because remember, that was the first cycle, the real estate construct, the 1.0 I talked about. Now, as you shift gear, two things will happen. One is you want to diversify, and then you diversify based on things you understand. So where there's an education gap in terms of understanding how do I invest into technology, that is perhaps the first challenge you need to address. So there've been a lot of groups coming and setting up, angel group networks. You've got the Dubai angel investors, you've got the Abu Dhabi angel investors, the Emirati investors, and these groups now fund those startups. They educate the different folks in the region. But this, I think, it's just a matter of time as people start becoming more comfortable with this type of thing. I can only see this number to increase in the future.
No, I 100% agree with that. I will be very curious to understand how you see the growth happening. But in the meantime, again, I would love to understand and hear any names that you would that comes to your mind, either from the startups who made a mark, or an innovation that made a mark and was visible, or the incubators or the private equity venture capital firms which have been making huge difference to the economy.
I mean, you've obviously have the success stories that we all know about. You've all heard about Kareem,
Mm-hmm.
which was similar to Uber in the US.
Right
I
hailing,
mean,
yeah.
there were two gentlemen who started that off, both ex-McKinsey guys who came, and they created a huge, massive exit for themselves and for the company, and that certainly put Middle East on the map. And people who perhaps ignoring it or overlooking it are now suddenly waking up that this is not just a fly by night or one ship that sailed through the night in this region. This is something perhaps a bit more long term. And as I told you, when Amazon also came in and bought Souk, that was another turning point in this region. And of course, the Yahoo Maktub story, as we all know from way back. So these are three things that I can think off the top of my head.
How about the enablers, whether it's accelerators or maybe
Oh, well,
sovereign boosters?
yes, absolutely. I mean, let's start with Dubai, where I am. I mean, the Dubai Futures Accelerator was established in September 2016. That was a vision by the government here to put. They started off with half a dozen Dubai entities on the platform,
Mhm.
like Dubai Holding, DEWA, which is the Electric and Water Authority, Dubai Police, etc. The different entities, and they all put up their problem statements on the platform, and they opened up this platform to the world and said, if you're a smart entrepreneur anywhere in the world, you should apply, and if you are successful, then you will be invited to come over. Your expenses will be paid. You'll be put up, and then you'll be working. You'll be paired up with one of these government entities to address and solve their challenges.
That's one. But then I keep coming back with this question to you, right? That's one emirate, one accelerator. How about the MENA? Because we have been talking about the rest of the UAE, we are talking about rest of the GCC, and the NA region as well for that
Well,
matter.
well,
How's the activity there?
let's start off with the UAE and then spread out to the region. So since then, I mean, Hub 71, as you know, has been established in Abu Dhabi. They incubate and accelerate companies today. You have Shera, that's SHERAA in Sharjah,
Mhm.
right? And then you've got going out of the region, you can go into Jordan, for example. You've got FinTech Bay, you've got Oasis 500. Then you go into Saudi, you've got the Badr program, Blossom, Inspired, MISC 500. The list goes on and on. I mean, it has really proliferated. And I
Sure.
don't want to, bore your audience with just rattling off names, but suffice it to say, for those that are interested, they can easily access this information, literally by doing a straightforward search is what I do.
And where do you see this region and the startup or investment ecosystem in this region, both together, Red,
Well, if
going in
if if
next
if,
years?
if my vision back in 2004 unfolds and materializes, I think I've just hit the first base of that region from 2016 onwards. To be a full total home run for me, it'll probably outlive me because I think this is a 50-year journey, Rakesh. And I'm just so happy to be now doing what I'm doing at this point in my life right here. I'm really, really happy to be doing that.
And any predictions for next half a decade or a full decade to come?
Well, I would say look out for unicorns coming out of this region, and then also companies that are born here, meaning UAE startups that go onto the global map, not just make a impact as a unicorn in this region. So in other words, what I call reverse innovation, something that started here suddenly takes on global appeal. And that would be an absolute victory for me as far as I'm concerned. If I can, you know, get something, get my hands involved in a company that's, going to be, you look back and say, oh my God, it was founded in UAE, in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and now it's a global player in what it's doing. Wow, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. No, I think I echo that thought, that prediction, and that sentiment. I personally have been very closely observing and watching that region grow, and that's the reason I had so many questions to learn, understand, and further pass
Well,
it on to
well,
our
well
audience.
I hope my input has been useful, certainly to you, and more importantly to your viewers.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for taking time, Salim, today to talk to us and share your knowledge with our audience. And wish you all the best. I do see you participating and making a lot of difference to all the new stuff happening in that region in coming years. So all the best for that and congratulations.
Well, no, thank you for that, Rakesh. I mean, to me, it's basically one way of learning, and also one way of bringing the future forward. The only way to see the future is to work with startups because they're discounting the future today, and it's like looking into a crystal ball. So, to me, working with a founder is nothing short, it's sheer bliss for me, and it's part of my learning journey in life.
Awesome. Now that I can see that that's visible in your voice, in your conviction, everything that we see. And thank you so much again, Salim.
Thank you very much,
Very
Rakesh.
grateful for you to take time for us.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.